Hi, this is DarkFox127 and welcome to a mod update video. This is where I go back to one of my old mods, well, I'll say old mods, one of my sort of recent mods that needs an update and do exactly that, give it an update. So today I want to go and take a look at a cat's life. Now, at the time of this video, I'd actually got a load of sort of announcements on each of my mods, like Mershcombe Estate, A Cat's Life, Riverside Shack, Millwood Retreat, saying that they're no longer supported, and the plan is that they aren't unless I kind of feel like going back. But I don't want people to have the idea that I'm going to be continuously updating them and checking the comments and updating all the bugs. And Jesus Christ, these birds are noisy. If you can hear a lot of birds in the background, I apologise. There's nothing I can do about that short of burning the damn tree down. There is literally a tree right outside this window with a load of chirping birds in it, and it's a very hot and sunny day. But let's get down to it. So I've loaded up A Cat's Life, and I decided to do this one because I happen to now be getting back into making some videos, and also Elianora, when I was watching on a live stream, she had A Cat's Life up and running, and she was basically bugging me saying that there were a couple of major issues with it that I needed to sort. So one major issue I think we're gonna try and tackle straight away, which I've already done a little bit of pre-research into, otherwise 20 minutes of the video would have been me trying to bloody bug test it, is the stores are not restocking the cat food. And I thought it was going to be that the stores weren't restocking whatsoever, but it is actually that the stores are just not restocking cat food. And I've found out the reason behind it. So one of the things with stores, rather than you just continuing to listen to me talk and stare at a blank screen, one of the things that you can do is you can have it so that surrounding items that are owned by the store owner disappear as you buy them. And I thought that was really cool and took it a bit too far. And what I did is I made it so that they only sold what was around them for, like, consumables. And I would have thought that because Skyrim, in theory, has a system to reset cells and restock things and respawn things, I would have thought that they would respawn after a time. But I tested it very quick with Vanilla Game. I may be wrong, but it seems to be ringing true based on A Cat's Life reports. When you purchase from a store, the only things that reset are the store container items. And anything surrounding that disappears off the side doesn't restock. It doesn't reappear. It doesn't reset. So I'm going to be looking into a better fix for this. But for just this video, I'm going to put a pure fix in to make sure that at least these are available in the containers. So you'll see here, you've got like respawn. Well, it doesn't respawn. I don't get why. I come back after like 5 days and travelling to different cells and loading up a bunch of new cells, hoping it would drop the old and then reset them, but it doesn't seem to have done it. If anyone knows of any sort of, mod out there, a fix out there for making sure that cells do reset, please let me know. Or if there is a longer time frame than 5 days for it, I haven't done a ton of research, but I will after this. But I thought let's just get a bunch of stuff fixed on a basic level. So this will at least make it so that things are going to respawn. So if I go to my merchant container here, what we're going to do is basically just add in a collection of cat treats and other stuff in there. So the things that we are missing by the looks of it are, well, actually quite a number of things. We have empty bowls, cat collars, and cat beds. So all the items and things like that, and sort of general water and whatnot, that is in place. Interestingly, collar black. There is a single black collar in there, and I'm not really sure why that is, which is really interesting because I'd have thought that would be in there, but I'm not going to question it. It's not really a problem. Yeah, for some reason the stuff that's not in here is I think just food. So we are going to do that. So, oh, hang on. Did I just put that in? Because I was sort of talking and not paying attention. I think I just put that in. Let me double check that. Come on. Yeah, I did. I just put that in. What an idiot. Right, okay. So we got 2 sets of cat milk too for some reason. Maybe I did intend on this stuff being there and I made a slip up and doubled up the cat milk. Could have just been a me thing. So we're going to want a collection of biscuits. So I'm going to do like 3 biscuits. I'm going to do 5 food. I want to make sure I've got plenty of food all the while. And then I'm going to do some cat treats. So I'm just going to do like about 3 treats. And they should at least respawn and then add on all the stuff that's surrounding. And hopefully that resolves that issue. So that was Jean. And I'm going to want to do Melvin. Interestingly, he's selling a yarn ball, and I'm not entirely certain if that was actually implemented. But we'll take a look at that. If you're wondering why I'm looking up, by the way, it's because I'm using one of my 2 smaller screens as they're actually at an aspect ratio and resolution that's going to make it easy for you guys to actually see this stuff that I'm doing. But I have got my headrest here, so I'm just sort of relaxed back doing this stuff. So let's duplicate cat milk. Let's do the same thing again here. So we've got to scroll up. We got cat biscuits. We'll do 3 again. Then I'll do 3 for the cat treats, and then I'll do 5 again for the cat food. I tell you, I'm recording videos at like the noisiest day possible. There is just so much going on. I can hear a bloody ice cream van now. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Right. So I'm just taking a look at my list. We have essentially, I'm going to do like a done category. You can't see this. I'm just typing it up on my other screen. But I believe I have fixed store restocking to some extent. Another thing that we had were a bunch of script errors. Now, somebody on the mod page itself, or better yet, I think they wound up dropping me an email, and I'm really hoping that I kept that email in place. I think I'm going to check my sent, where essentially what was going on, something that I suspected for a very long time was a thing, but then brushed off thinking, oh no, it can't possibly be a thing. Oh, don't you love it when your sent doesn't include replies? That is absolutely stupid, Gmail. So one of the... Oh, I know where it would have been. I think it might have been on Nexus. Oh, good heavens, a bauble. Oh no, I'm not going to enable Nexus fucking Messenger for that. I think I'll try and fix that later because it's too much of a ball ache. But it's something that I'll note now. Where if you've got updates to scripts that you do where you remove a previously placed in property, so not that the property's empty, but literally like there used to be a property in here and now it's not there, and you just flat out remove it without ever opening this up and going back in, it sort of remembers and thinks that there's a property there, which is absolutely ludicrous. And all that you have to do is like come in, and you need to just reconfirm what's in there, and it just sort of tells the ESP, yeah, that's what's in there. It's really dumb, but I've got to basically go back through a collection of scripts. I'll have to hunt down that message, and I've got to just reconfirm a bunch of sort of properties and stuff in scripts, which will fix that, which is, like I say, pretty stupid, but seems to be how it works. One of the quirks of CK. So another thing was checking cat names, making sure that I actually included all of the files required, because this is something that's very easy to miss. Not a ton of people reported being unable to do it, and I had tested it, but I do want to just double check that in my release mod files for Cat's Life, I included what was needed. So there is this UI lib that's needed. I don't know what button art is doing in there, and if that's even important. But then I think there's like there might be a script for it. Yeah, and the script's in there. Okay, I think that's fine. I think we can ignore that. So I've just got like a list of stuff, basically from the mod pages, and obviously what Elianora told me was wrong with this. So another thing was Thieves Guild stuff, which I'm going to leave for a second. We'll get back into that. That's a real interesting topic that I might have to do an actual video on. But in here, I'd noticed there were some interesting things, like the cells actually having water, which I don't think has an effect as such, but it just shouldn't be there. So I've removed that. There we go. Let's get rid of that. It was only one of the cells. Really, real bizarre thing. And also the lighting. One thing when you're doing lighting in your mod is you ideally want to try and match the lighting from surrounding areas. So I'm trying to put a cat store in here in Whiterun. So what I'm really going to want to do is try and match the media next door, just the general Whiterun lighting. So if I use like Bellathor's as a base, and you look at all of these, they're all using this Whiterun int lighting template. Now, obviously, when you're making mods, you can do whatever light templates you want. This isn't a rule, but something that you might want to do if you want to make sure that the lighting is consistent when people put their EMBs and stuff on top is not make it to your preference to begin with. It's to instead make it to match the rest of the game, and then people will do what they need afterwards to make sure their EMBs are dark enough. Otherwise, what happens, you make this nice and dark how you personally like it, and then somebody puts an EMB on and it's practically pitch black. So the Whiterun interior lighting template, as you can see in Bellathor's, it doesn't have fog power, fog max, light fade distance, or directional rotten fade. And I think mine didn't quite follow the same route. And I want to see if it makes much of an effect by making sure that these are all off. So if I hit apply, I don't think I'm visibly seeing much of a difference. I do need to enable sky. I am there. So they've got this sort of weird fog in, actually. That might be why I left that sort of off. The problem is that what I may have now done is wound up resetting that to something entirely different to what it was. So that was a bit of a whoopsie. So let me check Jean's. So his is actually all ticked for like the Riften interiors. I think this is probably fine. I mean, I'll go in game later on and I will check to see if that's okay. I think it doesn't look too bad actually. Let's sort of just put that back to whatever it was. So fog power, fog lighting, light fade distance. Let's just redo that, reapply that. That's probably fine. I don't think I need to mess with the lighting at all. So fixing food item sound pickups. This is a really small thing, and it's something that only like the most, I don't know what the word is, you know, people that are really, really attuned to like everything that's going on. Most players will probably not even notice this, but the thing I did notice when I was trying to troubleshoot the merchant stuff was that on here I've got the complete wrong sounds for like different things. So the biscuits here, if you preview them, these are in a bag, and they have got the pickup sound of a bowl. So it doesn't really make any sense. So what I want instead is something a bit more appropriate. So item, I mean, I suppose if I put in pickup, I'll get all like the sounds for pickup. Nope, you'd like to think you would, but no, you don't. If I put in up, it's going to probably be far too broad. Let's organise by form. Maybe that'll work that way. Because it's got to be something for like bag, surely. I'm not really sure what would be a very similar item to copy this from. But we need... Because I don't want it like an actual ingredients pickup, because that would be all mushy and weird. But I'm sure there's an item in the game that we could use that is like a bag of something like flour, maybe. Let's have a look at that, because that's like a big sort of bag sack thing. Maybe we could use that instead. This doesn't have a pickup sound or a put down sound, probably because it's bloody baked into the mesh, which is interesting, so that didn't help us much. But item food eat was the other one, so I'm just going to leave that for a second. I've actually got NPC human eat soup, which doesn't makes sense. So item eat. Oh God, what was it now? Item food eat. So ITM food eat. That needs to be changed to that. So obviously, the player isn't intended to go around eating cat biscuits, but the player can eat cat biscuits. So that means that it does need to have the correct eating sound and pick up and drop sounds for things, because you can technically eat them. And when you do, you're going to want the correct sound. So the other thing here as well, so this is eat, drink, soup. So I'm going to want something like mead here and check what that has, because I've got a feeling that's different. So it actually has potion, pick up and put down. Those two have potion. See, that's got bowl up, and that's milk. So that's completely wrong as well. So potion up, and then we need potion down. So you can see how these are quite small things, but they will make quite the difference. So item potion use on those will be a lot more appropriate. So the water already had it on, that's fine. And then what we do want here is the, like I say, those pick up and drop sounds. Now, if I look at the pick up and drop sounds, probably for my beds and bowls, they're going to be where there are also some issues, but I think they're fine because these are going to work off of their material types and be applied that way. But these have like bowl up as well, and then I'm probably going to leave the bowl down, and I'll test that a bit later on. But I'm going to list as having fixed the sounds. But it's really interesting little things like that when you come back to a mod that during the time of release you did so much stuff with so much testing, it'll end up being a lot of the little things and things that will take a long time for people to spot and correct you on, that you'll completely forget about. So having fixed sounds, that's fine. I do quickly want to find something that would make sense for like a dropping sound. So let's have a little look through. Hopefully this video is just interesting for those of you that just want to see sort of what some of the process is like, for like updating mods and some of the thought process. Hopefully that kind of helps, and hopefully there's some little things in this video that I mention that maybe you're just not aware of. So it's interesting. A lot of these objects don't actually have sounds because they're just relying on their material types to have it applied. See how all the pick up and put down sounds are just completely missing for a lot of these. So I'm actually thinking that we kind of just wipe that off of those and let the game deal with it instead. We could check the collision on the meshes. The meshes I really don't want to change because that would be horrible. Because if the meshes are the wrong sort of material, which I'm really hoping they're not, it would mean that if we do mesh updates, so I really want this update to just be an ESP. But I am going to go ahead and check those files. So if I go into modding, my mods released, ACL, we go into, oh, no, not loose, mod files, legacy, meshes, ACL, and then we do clutter, food, and then if we look at an actual food bag, I'm guessing is what it is, and on here, under collision, there will be somewhere that mentions the actual material. But the question is, where is that going to be? It's here somewhere, I'm telling you. It is a thing that I never remember where it is. Somebody's going to be watching this and just screaming because it's probably right in front of me or somewhere relatively obvious, but I cannot see it right now. I'm really hoping that these are correct. Pretty sure it's not in any of these fancy unused data things. Chunk materials, there it is. So it says cloths, that's perfectly fine. That's what it should sound like. If you don't apply pickup sound to overwrite it, in theory, I think that's what it will sound like. So that's a good indicator to say that, yeah, these are fine. I am just going to check the bowls out of interest, just to make sure that these are on the same wavelength. These are also right, because like I say, a lot of this stuff is small things that can easily be overlooked. Ceramic medium, perfect. Okay, they were correct. So that's good. I'd say that we've pretty much sorted the sounds. We've basically just removed them from it, which fixes it, making it use its base one. I'm not sure if they're even wrong. I've just spotted it in the creation kit, so I thought I'd change it. Script errors. Resave script properties. So that I'm going to do later. The stores to be restocked is hopefully done. The Fix Thieves Guild quest is an interesting one. This is something that I'm going to briefly mention, but I'm going to do a separate video on instead because it just makes more sense. It's long-winded. But essentially, the setting up for the Thieves Guild Radiant quest, where you can forge ledgers and stuff. So there's this ledger over here. This actually has to have a bunch of stuff applied to it. Some stuff that's missing. So this currently doesn't really work. But it's meant to have like location ref types. If I put markers on, you'll see. There's like a whole chest that I'm missing and everything, and I've got to go through and get that fixed up and working, because there's a number of things that I've just completely missed, and I want to try and get it into an easy, cohesive sort of tutorial to put that stuff together. So basically, if you put your own store in the game, you can make sure that it's added to the potential target for the raiding quest for the Thieves Guild stuff, and it'll just tie it into the world and the lore, basically. Which is really cool. So the only other two things that I've got listed here that I wanted to do, I'm aware this video is going quite long now. Hopefully you guys don't mind that. I needed to add Lightfoot, because that should stop cats from setting off traps. Really interesting bug report that came through a few months ago. Somebody's like, the cats are setting off traps. I'm going to see if I can add it to the race, but I've got a funny feeling that that's not an option. Specials is interesting. Maybe I can. And I don't know what it's going to be called in here, but I'm going to hope that it is Lightfoot. So that is a perk, and it is called Lightfoot, because I think this is just like spells and stuff, and not necessarily perks, which is interesting. So let's see where that's actually used. Is this used in like a spell or something? It's used all over the place. It's used on all the traps, obviously, because it needs to reference all of that stuff. Make sure it doesn't set stuff off. Silent roll. Sprinting while sneaking executes a silent roll forward. We don't really want that. I believe it's something I would just be having to add to every single actor, which I'm not going to sit here and spend time doing, but I am going to show you and give you an idea of what it would involve. Going into every one of these actors, I think, and basically going into spells, and as you can see, perks, adding Lightfoot. And hopefully that works on NPCs. So what I've now got to do is go through, do all of that, get this ESP together, and essentially just make a patch ESP. So I don't have to re-upload the whole mod. It's just a patch you'll put on top of everything else. And in theory, that will change everything and hopefully update existing saves for most, if not all of it, and fix the problems. So like I say, I know that I said that I wasn't really planning on updating these on the mod pages, but I will if there's serious enough stuff to do, like the script errors here and the merchant restocking and the major ones. Something else that I want to do, but I'm not going to bother in this video because I think it's going to be a bit more involved, is I'm also going to be adding the ability to craft the actual different foods, because I think I've got like bed crafting and stuff at the moment. But you can do beds and collars and even milk, and I think there's a recipe in here, but you can't do the foods. So I'm going to have to take a look and see what I want the recipes for that to be, and I need to make sure that you can actually sell the recipes, because that would be cool. They were meant to be like secretive, but I think I'll at least sell the recipes for the food straight off out the gate, and that would actually involve adding them, not adding them to the list. Actually, if I look for a recipe, I've basically got a custom form list. So if you're familiar with creating, let me start this a bit better. Hang on. If you're familiar with creating merchants, especially if you do custom merchants, if you have custom items that you want your merchants to sell, rather than using a standard vendor list in here for like apothecary or blacksmith, you can make your own list. And that list, which is a form list under MISC and form list, that has to contain the keywords that of the items that he can stock and sell and buy off you. So you'll see I've got ACLKW cat stocks, just a custom keyword, super easy to make. And then what I would need to do is if I do a custom recipe of sorts, so if we look at something in here, a recipe, I just have to add that keyword in and it would allow him to buy and sell that item. Anything that doesn't have the keywords listed in my custom form list basically can't be sold to him or purchased from Melvin or Jean. Is basically how it works. So I've got to go through and just do that. So I just make a quick recipe for it, decide what it takes, make a recipe note for it, sell that note, and then have it actually added to like the alchemy bench or wherever it's going to be added into. So that should be interesting. But that is just about it. I think that covers it. Hopefully, like I say, it was somewhat interesting. You've picked up a few tricks, tips here and there, various different things, and just the process that I go through for updating stuff. In this case, it's a real simple ESP, so I don't have to repackage everything like I say. It will just overwrite the other one. So that is it for this tutorial video. Hope you found it useful. Please let me know in the comments section down below. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more of my videos. You can find out a lot more information about everything that I do over on my website at www.darkfox127.co.uk. And please make sure to come and check me out on Twitch whenever you've got a spare moment. I stream every Wednesdays and Saturdays at the time of this video, about 4 or 5 PM UK time. If that ever changes, just check the schedule. I do a lot of this stuff, creating mods, editing mods, updating mods, and even playing the game now, would you believe, after 9 years of modding the hell out of it. And if you want to get some help with things, join my community Discord. We've got a lot of helpful people on there that are always willing to help each other out. It's just a really good source of information as well, and announcements of things. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will speak to you all next time.